Good morning, Collier, Seminole.
You remember? You remember how to ride? It's been a while, hasn't it? Are you excited, Maggie? I think we're going to go outside the park just a little bit and ride on the trail. I think there's a trail that's within the park, but you have to go outside the park to get to it. So. Might be a little bumpy for Maggie.
Set out on the open road, same old place you always used to go.
I think we saw a couple gators here last time when we were on this trail.
Speeding through a 50 song like your dad before, you didn't even notice. The old man with silver hair sitting in his rocking chair. Soon you'll be there.
So Lynn's trying to find this trail on all trails just to make sure we don't go too far.
On Hammock Trail, 3.5 miles.
Okay.
It's a loop. Generally considered as an easy route. It takes an average of 1 hour. Do I need to get you some water, baby girl?
We'll stop in a little bit.
Okay.
You want to?
We'll ride just a little bit.
Okay.
Listening to the same old tune as you heard before, you even knew the language. With every line it brought you back to where the summer never ended.
Up on another gator hole here.
Although it's easy to remember, it's as easy to forget that it leaves you feeling down, filled with some regrets. All this trick of the memory, call them good old days. Although sweet in the moment, it's poison for you.
I know it.
It's poison for you.
completed the loop. Now it's just the straight trail back to the trailhead. So today's little bike ride ended up being on the Collier Seminole Prairie Hammock Trail. That's a mouthful.
It is.
And
It's about 3.5 miles, so it took us about an hour. We did stop a couple of times and saw an alligator, and it's just beautiful out here. It's,
it is.
It's like a jungle.
It is, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
Part of the trail it's dirt and a little bit of grass, and part of it is quite a bit of grass that sometimes will get in your sprockets. So.
Yeah, it's like they mowed it down, but just left it there on the trails.
Haven't seen any deer out here, and we haven't seen any bears.
Thank goodness.
I know.
But it is bear country, and you see signs everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think isn't it cougar country too?
Yes. So the Florida cougars are here. Does that scare you, or are you okay with it?
What?
The fact that there's so much wildlife.
It didn't scare me. I don't know that. I think if you kind of be aware, and you got other people walking the trail and stuff. So I didn't feel very intimidated or anything. But the guy we met on the trail said that he saw the alligator over in the park where we saw one earlier today, and he said there were manatees there. So I think I'm gonna at least
ride back by and see if we can see the manatees.
I think I saw them, but I didn't know what I was
They were bubbling
seeing.
up. You're right.
Yep.
I saw that too.
So we did ride back over here to the water, and sure enough, there's 3 manatee, maybe more, popping their heads up every now and then. It's really, really cool. Did you get any good pictures?
I think so.
Good.
You didn't come out of the water very much whenever I had it in focus. So
Yeah.
maybe that's my problem. I'm not as good as. And you're
See,
way
there
there.
you
He's
go.
got his nose way out of the water now.
Yeah. So we're back at the van, done with our ride. I think it's time to sit back in our new recliners and take it easy for a little bit. Oh yeah, this is nice.
All that relaxing made me hungry, so let's cook up a little cast iron pizza. First some red onions, then some tomatoes, some cilantro, put down a little bit of dough, spread out some of the marinara sauce on it, not too much, lay down the onions, lay down the cilantro, and now we start laying pepperonis on there. Remember, you can't have too many pepperonis. Yeah, that looks good. Now we're going to take some little pearl mozzarella balls, put them on there, and now put those cherry tomatoes on, the cilantro, and man, she's about ready to cover up and to cook. Well, first, a little bit of mozzarella cheese. Light her up, boom, here we go. Looks good, doesn't it? Let's cover it up and let it cook slowly and evenly as much as you can with just heat from the bottom. Oh man. Can't wait.
Maggie, want a pepperoni?
It's been about 10 minutes. Let's check out the bottom.
She's got a good bottom.
Slide it over and cut this baby up and let's bite in.
All right, let's see what you think.
Well,
Does
first, take a look at my bottom.
the bottoms are good.
Bottom looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Let's add some.
All right.
Greg,
Oh Lord,
man, it's so good.
is it good?
We appreciate you being part of our journey. Goofy old man doing a happy dance.
The crust is really crunchy.
I know, it's really good and crunchy. All right. We're learning. I'll know how to cook before I stop
Maybe.
cooking, probably. So tell you what, the bottom of it's really almost perfect. The crust is almost perfect. Got a lot of cheese on there. I may be constipated a little bit tomorrow from all this cheese, but it reminds me of one of the things my grandfather, be quiet, Maggie, I'm telling a joke here. Reminds me of one of the things my grandfather told me. Do you know what Chinese call constipation? Do you know, Maggie?
Does Maggie know?
No? Can we tell you? Hung Jiao. That killed me. I'm going to eat my pizza, Maggie. I told my friend David this joke today. Do you know what the difference between a well-dressed man on a bicycle and a well-dressed man on a unicycle is? Attire. Well, good morning, Florida sunshine. We finally found, well, we skipped warm weather. We went to hot weather. It's in the 80s, and man, it's a little warm. But we're gonna walk down. Today's plan is to take the Oros out on this kayaking trail here at Collier, Seminole. It's really, really great thing. If you ever come here, you need to do that. But we also have 24-mile-an-hour winds coming through and gusts. So we're gonna try to figure out how much we think that is gonna impact the canals and whether we should go out on them today or put that off until tomorrow. But over the next 3 or 4 days, this is the best day that we have here. You can kind of see why too. Look at this. This is why you come to Florida, baby, right here. Yeah, I think we're waiting on calmer weather, and that's something. You get an 85-degree day with nothing but sunshine, but the wind blows. It's always something, isn't it? Sounds like I'm complaining. I am not. Plan B. Whatever the crap that is. I don't think we have a plan B today. Hey guys, it's Owen. I'm going to pop in and tell you what happened here because we didn't do a really good job of explaining to you what was going on. We had 2 more nights here at Collier, Seminole, but we had to change sites. We went over and looked at the site we were going to be going to, and it was right up against the Tamiami Trail and pretty noisy and pretty small, nothing like we had just had. So we set up some scans to try to stay in the area of the campground we were in there at Collier, Seminole, but we also set up some scans on Camp Nab to try to get to go on down to the Keys and just give up those 2 days that we had remaining there at Collier, Seminole. And what you're about to see is what happened when that scan with Camp Nab came through and we were able to book 2 nights at John Penny Camp instead, where unlike Collier, Seminole, they were having beautiful, perfect weather. Okay, we received this text saying that 2 nights that we want to book ahead of getting to Bahia Honda at John Penny Camp will open up today at 12:14. It's 12:13. I have everything queued up on the website, and now I'm just refreshing this page to see if it pops up to the top and I can book it. It is a site we'd love to get. We've looked at it. Both of us agree it's something we want to do. Now I'm just doing the game of refreshing and hoping that it pops up to the top and we can grab the 2 nights. If you look at the top, I'm already logged in. I've got the campground selected, and I know that 22 is locked. You can see that here. So now I'm just going to refresh until it becomes unlocked, which should be any minute now. They're usually pretty accurate about these. As far as I can tell, this is one of the features that Wandering Labs doesn't have, that makes this maybe worth a little bit of extra money to get this. Because you can prepare, and in this situation, that helps. And there it is. Book now. 2 adults. You got to do this pretty quickly. No vehicles, camping units, a motorhome, less than. This is a big site, and I'll put my name in. One of these days I'm gonna automate this part too with a keystroke replicator. But now agree, reserve unit, and that's it. That's how we just used CampNab to replace 2 of our nights here at Collier Seminole with John Pennycamp. It is done.
Awesome.
The only thing left to do now is to go over here and cancel the reservation for Collier Seminole. We've seen that site and it's nothing like what we're going to have in John Pennycamp, so we're okay with that. So that's how we use CampNab. Sitting here, it was a really good experience again. When they say it's going to unlock, sometime during that minute, it usually does. We grab the 2 nights we want, and I want to see what Lynn thinks about that.
I think it's awesome. Can't wait to go.
Yeah. That means we have 4 nights now at John Pennycamp. Wow.
That'd be awesome.
And as I put it on the calendar, it didn't hit me that what I was booking is tomorrow. So that means we'll be all the way down to the Keys tomorrow in January. We made a conscious effort to do that this year, you know, because when you stay north, and we love to stay north in Florida, but when you stay north in Florida, especially January and then early February, the weather is pretty iffy. So now we have almost 2 weeks in the Florida Keys that we booked after we left our home with CampNab, and the weather there is always, well, pretty close to perfect, except for maybe some wind. We're pretty excited, but that changes our plans for the day. Instead of this being a day that we're going to now go out on the water and have fun, this now becomes a provisioning day for what we were looking forward to, which is the Keys.
Ride to town.
Naples. Stop at Tractor Supply.
Check.
The guy wanted me to pull in because he said there's got to be a place on your RV that I can fill it up without having to take the tanks out.
Yeah.
Little did he know that little did he know. There's not
Can't
one.
do it.
I had to explain to him why ours is like that. And we've had it both ways. The Travado, you filled it up with, had his own onboard tank. And sometimes, like especially in Alaska and the Yukon and other places, we've had to wait around on a place like that would open, that would fill it. But
Yeah.
this is better, in our opinion, for us, because in a pinch, we could go to Lowe's or Walmart or any kind of convenience store and swap these out if we had to.
Yeah.
So.
Tonight we're doing cast iron skillet nachos. And you know what? We get the question a lot. Do you guys cook like this all the time? Why don't you just go out to eat? Well, what we've learned, for us at least, and it may not be that way for you, but for us, cooking a good meal that's a little bit of an experiment, well, it's part of the camping process. So we love to get out here and try things. Lynn had this idea for nachos with hamburger meat, taco seasoning, and put it in the cast iron skillet. Sounded good to me, so that's dinner tonight.
We bought a big thing of hamburger to go with the nachos, and I'm going to use half of the hamburger to go for hamburgers, and I'm going to freeze those. I've put them in balls, and now I'm going to like smash them out just a little bit. So there's the 3 balls. I'm going to take my water bottle, and I'm just going to smash them out to the size of hamburgers. And it'll squeeze all the air out of here too.
Now let's throw down the rest of that hamburger meat and get that to cooking. Add a few red onions chopped up in there. Let it cook with the hamburger meat to get it some flavor. Now we're going to add a little bit of taco seasoning. Actually, we're going to add a lot. Mix that up together and put you a couple paper towels down. You put your hamburger meat down on that. Pat it out so that it doesn't have any grease on it, because no one likes greasy nachos. Now, add your tortilla chips to the bottom of the cast iron skillet and start putting your hamburger meat back on. Put a little bit of cheese on, well, a lot of cheese. Now we're going to throw in some of those thinly sliced jalapeno peppers. We're going to cover that for just a few minutes, let those simmer, and then we're going to put in some fresh cilantro and some cherry tomatoes. Spread that out. Now, put a little bit of salsa on top of that and let that heat up. Cover it up, leave it for just a few minutes, and look at what you have. This is a feast.
I'm just going to eat this with my fingers. That bite has a little bit of everything on it. Let's see how good this is. La cucaracha. Cucaracha. Man, Greg, that is awesome. That is absolutely Bon appetit. That's not your normal nachos right there. That's nachos on a cast iron skillet under a slow flame. That's a bite right there, guys. Look at that. That is a bite.
And now, based totally on how we love to camp, here's how we would rate Collier Seminole State Park. It has 104 sites, 2 different campground loops, and an average of $46 per night to stay here. First, the booking process, which is online at floridastateparks.org, and it's as good as it can get. However, the pictures are not representative of what you're going to see when you get there, especially in the main RV loop. And for other, which we've added that rating this week, we could not get in touch with the park, which meant we were arriving after it closed, not knowing if we'd be able to get into our site. They did have a temporary gate up and it didn't require a code, but we wished we could have gotten in touch with them, and for that reason we worried the last hour, and we're giving that a 2. The cancellation policy is online as well. You can change or modify your site for $10 and you can cancel for a total of $17.75. Overall, it gets a 3.8. Believe it or not, this is not one of our favorite parks, and this rating will reflect that. For privacy, if you're in the 10 area, it's what you would expect. But if you get in the other loop where RVs are expected to go, it's more like what you would see in a KOA. There's very little privacy. And like us, I think you'll find that it's not that clean of a site. It's very hard to keep your rig or anything you have outdoors and keep it clean with all the dirt and mud that accumulates. We found that it was somewhat level. It is accessible, but there are a lot of sharp turns. And if you're in the big RV area, you're expected to negotiate some pretty sharp turns and some very challenging back-end situations. And for the other, man, is it buggy. I know that's not the fault of the campground, but for us, it made it impossible to sit outside and enjoy the outdoors. And the outdoors is our big living room since we have a small RV. So the rating for us for this park, 2.6. Now for the things you can do inside the park. There is hiking, but we found that most of it was still closed. There is biking, but it's either on the road in the park or you have to leave the park and ride beside of the dangerous Tamiami Trail to get to the one trail that you can ride on. We did enjoy it, but Lynn was a little afraid of riding beside the road, and I totally understand that. One big draw there is all the water and the trails that you can kayak and canoe on. That gets a 5. As for touristy stuff, well, it's near the beach, so you'd think that would be one of the best things about it. But what we found, and if you live in Naples, we're really sorry to tell you this, but Naples is the most undog-friendly area we've ever been to. Not only could we not find a beach that Maggie could go on, we couldn't even find a beach that we could park with Maggie in the vehicle. So we give that a 1. Come on. And for cell phone coverage, it's not great. You're out in the middle of nowhere. We got 1 to 2 bars with T-Mobile and Verizon. Overall, we'll rate this a 3, but I think that's being generous. We also like to look at what's nearby once we get to the park. You're going to find that there's a Walmart and a Publix very close to the park, within 10 to 20 minutes easily. You're also going to find hundreds of restaurants that you can explore that are either really close to the park or within 10 minutes. There's also a lot of fun things to do. You're on the Tamiami Trail. There are a lot of alligator trails. There's airboat rides. There's lots of things to do within 30 minutes of this park. And one of those things is why we rated a 2. You're right next to the beach in Naples. None of the beaches are dog friendly or even allow dogs to even be in the parking area. I understand that if you're in a Cadillac with the windows rolled up and your dog is dangerously exposed to heat. But little Maggie has air conditioning, her own bed, her own food, and 2 cameras that are on her at all the time that we can see and talk to her. It kind of ticked us off a little that we didn't get to enjoy the beaches there. You may find it to be perfect, but for us, we rate that a 2, bringing the total nearby score to 3.3. So once again, based upon how we like to camp, not how others do, but how we like to camp, here's how we would rate Collier Seminole State Park. The booking is a 3.8. The sites get a 2.6, 3.0 for amenities, and 3.3 for what's nearby, meaning it's a rating of 3.2. Which for us means we're likely to skip this park anytime we're in the area unless there's just nothing else available. If Naples would change their policy about having dogs with you when you travel, we may raise the rate. But for now, I think we'll skip on by and maybe go to Midway or some other place as we're going to the Keys next time. Hey, we hope you've enjoyed this video. We're glad you're part of our journey. It's been such an honor to meet and talk to so many of you as we travel, and we hope you'll join us next week as we continue down to the Keys and enjoy John Penny Camp. And until then, as Maggie would say, happy tales.